Oh, what's up, Chess Devil? I'm doing some cleaning real quick. All right, that's a good stopping point. Yo, yo, yo. All righty. All right, let's put this up right here. Take the headphones off. Yo. Cleaning studio? No, cleaning the house. So what I do, if you want to know, show you how I clean. One sec. What I do is I use these. What's up, guys? What I do is I typically use these. Now, I clean the house every Sunday. Hey, what's up? Hi, hee 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 hee. So what I typically do is I use these dusters to dust, and then I clean the whole house every Sunday, and I use this as my wet. So those are my tools. So I try to clean like probably every Sunday. So, yeah. Ooh, Kawa, hee hee hee. Studio is ready, right? Well, the studio's pretty good, but look, I cannot stress this enough to you. Okay, you see outside how we're kind of in the middle of the country? The Cox internet service, we have everything ready, but they still haven't put the Wi-Fi box in. So it's very frustrating. But the studio, other than, I'm gonna try to put some of my music on Spotify, and my brother and Carter are gonna help me do the podcast, but we can't do anything until, but basically, we can't really do anything until the Wi-Fi box gets in, because I'll show you guys. And then I'm gonna make some coffee. And again, guys, ask me anything. Happy Sunday. But I'll swear, this is how I clean. You get one of these Swiffers with these dusters, and then you get one of these Bonos with wet. Ha! Exactly, and it would make it easier for them if the people in power didn't vote to stop them or against it. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, see, hello again. That is the studio out there, so I'll show you, but let me put this on. You like my hat? And then we're eating some sardines and eggs. I'm eating sardines and eggs for breakfast. But yeah, let me show you guys what we've been building. We've got the beds here. You said, ooh? You don't like sardines and eggs? Oh, they're so yummy. You don't think so? Well, look, I'm trying to get lean. So you see how I'm lean now? I've lost 100 pounds eating this way. So for almost 40 years old with no pump, I think I look all right. Hey, buddy. Come here, buddy. What's up, buddy? What you doing? He wants his head rubbed. But yeah, so in order to get leaner, I'm doing more fats and protein. And there's Buddy. So, yeah, one of my dishes is 4 eggs and 4 sardines. 4 eggs and 4 sardines, and that's kind of been my breakfast. Oh, that's Buddy. Yes. He's pretty majestic, but no, I've got to go feed the chickens real quick. But the studio's over there. You said if I pick up my cat? Yeah, okay. Come here, buddy. I pick up my cat by its skin. Cats are meant to do picked up like that. That's how they pick up their things. And I promise you, if we were in person, you wouldn't say that. Yeah, whatever. Oh, you're an online Karen. No wonder. That's your personality. Yeah, of course you would complain. Anyways, these are the chickens. My cat probably eats. Yeah, my cat, he looks pretty threatened. My cat's 16 years old. What you doing, buddy? If he was so scared, I just stay this guy. All right. Boom. Get the hell out of my chat. I ain't got no time for your nonsense. You don't know me, brother. Shame. Who's this one? Ba 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 da da da. Boink. Do I live in a factory? No, I live in the middle of the woods. I'm gonna feed my chickens real quick. So. Acting like I'm hurting my cat. Anyways, y'all got water? Yep. They got water. Put this right here. Here you go, guys. Let's see. There you go. There's the chickens. And I use a combination of mealworms. Bye. I use a combination of mealworms, and then I use those, which is basically kind of like a couple of worms mixed in, and I'll throw in a little bit of corn with them. I give them a bunch of those. And they love it. Simple as that. Put that there. Oh yeah, for sure. You go what you want to do. I'm just showing you kind of my morning routine. So there's the chickens done. We have the compost over here where we put it. The greenhouse goes there. There's Buddy. Oh, thank you. Back at you. So, fire pit over here. Work shed. There's my vehicles over there. And then, yeah, and this is where I do the music for you guys. Oh, good food for chicken. I give them a lot of the scraps other than meat. And I think you can get a variety of different feeds. Don't give them just too much corn. Give them more a variety of whole foods. Like whenever you have scraps, like you can look up charts, and charts will say chickens can't eat this and this. I've always given them fruits and veggies, the stuff that's left over, and then mealworms. If you give them mealworms, they'll lay eggs. All right. And then, of course, but as you can see, as you go outside, signal gets bad. So we're kind of limited. We're really kind of limited to what we can do until we get the Wi-Fi box in there. So, there we go. Now back to cleaning the house. Yeah. Close. There we go. Here we go. Make me a cup of tea real quick. Tea or coffee? So what questions do you guys have for me this morning? Any questions for me? Do you guys wake up? I always ask you guys to write down what it is you're working on and bring it to the chat, and I'll tell you how to get there. What are you guys working on? What are you guys working on? What are you working on? What goals are you trying to get to? What goals are you trying to accomplish with your life? What goals? What gets you up in the morning, you people? Pop that there. It's Christmas Eve and not New Year. I have no idea. First of all, all right. Okie dokie, artichoke. What you guys got for me? I'm going to eat my sardines and eggs. Yeah. What's up, guys? Sardines and eggs for breakfast. I'm telling you, I've lost 100 pounds. I take the sardines, I cook them in butter, and I put them on top of my eggs with hot sauce, and I can tell you, this combination is amazing. Got so much energy eating it too. What is my religion? I do not have a religion. I do not conform to any religion in society. Now, if you look around the house, it's decorated in Christian attire. A lot of it is because I believe in a lot of the sayings in the Bible, like grateful, being blessed, and all that. I think that Jesus represented love, and I think love is more powerful than hate. But I don't conform to a single religion. I don't think God can be put into one box. I think all religions are streams leading to the same ocean. That's what I believe. I think each culture and each part of the world, there's people that believe in a creator and there's people that don't. And each society manifests their idea. Yeah. That's a nice analogy. I think they're all leading. So I think someone talking about Jesus or someone talking about what they believe, I think they're all talking about the same thing. I think I said that right. Yeah, it is an analogy. Now look, I was raised in a church. I am a veteran. I fought for the United States Navy. And I understand that the Christian influence had a big effect on creating the United States. But the only thing for me is this, guys. I don't believe a human can become the son of God and then come down from heaven. And that's just not something I believe. I'm sorry, I just can't wrap my head around it. I think it's great to learn from. I don't think that the church should go away. I love the church for art and inspiration and for a lot of things. I have a type of brain that rationally and logically it doesn't make sense. That doesn't mean that you should be that way. That's just how I see it. Now, what matters more to me is how people, what is this? Go Navy. Oh, so I was a logistics specialist and I was attached to a special warfare command. And yo, what's up? And essentially, I worked with SWCS and SEALs for about 7 years. Now, I was a combat service support, so I got to attach with them and go to like Afghan and stuff, and it was great, and I got to train with them. Do you like tea? Yeah, I like tea. I have a tea station and a coffee station right there. Yeah. So, then I spent 3 years in Japan. So yeah, Navy's amazing. AZs, go Navy. And one thing about me is, what's weird about me is once I spent a lot of time in Asia, and instead of being this versus that, black versus white, us versus them, tribe versus tribe, I think it's more not light versus darkness. I believe in light and darkness working together in unison. And spending 3 years in the Asian Pacific really changed my perspective. So I can't really explain it to you guys. If you've never lived outside the United States, you may disagree with my opinions, but it became very obvious to me when I thought about it. You don't appreciate happiness if you haven't felt pain. And if, am I a Democrat? No, I'm not really a Democrat or a Republican. I am more conservative than liberal, for sure. Definitely more right-wing than left. But I think you can be too far conservative and you can definitely be too far liberal. So I'm kind of independent in each issue I look at. I don't conform to teams very well. I'm not someone who's on this team or that. Yo, bro, I knew you. Cool. So to me, it's kind of more like every situation causes for critical thinking, and I change. Idiri. Sure. What's up, Idiri Warjo? How are you? Hope you're doing well. So, welcome back to the chat. Yeah, so you say in the US you only have right or more right? Well, I'm a critical thinker. So as a critical thinker, I understand why people are liberal, but at the same time, in my experience, some of these liberal people are kind of crazy. And then it's like this. Here's the far left and here's the far right. I'm in the middle and I lean more conservative. So I'm definitely more conservative, but I'm not so overbearing and top because, again, traveling around the world, I've met a lot of people with different belief systems, and I have that in my brain. And what's his message? So, what is this, Rolf boy? You are wrong. Huh. But yeah, to tell you the truth, what makes me happy is just creating music, and then I'm trying to get lean. I've lost about 100 pounds, and I really enjoy learning. Even though I did fight in Afghanistan, attached to SBT 22 as an LS, and I was over there during a time of war, I do not like violence. I train a lot. I pretty much live a warrior lifestyle, if you want to break it down. I do a lot of thinking. I train my body to be strong. But, man, them sardines is good. I just can't wrap my head around people who have to be right. I'm okay with not understanding something. Now, that being said, what do you guys believe? Do you think I'm crazy, right, or wrong? I mean, here's a thought experiment. If you were born in another country, would you believe differently than what you believe? Because so much of what we believe is shaped in society, and most people never step outside themselves and actually question what it is that they believe. Most people can't do that. Most people can't critically think. Most people think out loud. They can't process and have a critical thinking. I just wish more people could critically think. I wish more people could critically think. I pray to God every day that people could more critically think. You know, just having the ability to actually critically think is so important. Having the ability to critically think is so important. And most people can't. Yeah, most people don't have the ability to critically think. It's sad, but it's true. Most people don't have the ability to critically think. There we go. So I've lost about 100 pounds, and I can tell you that I've really been enjoying the process of learning how my body's responding to this nutrition. All right, let's see. Oh, we're on 5 better. Yeah, again, the internet out here in the middle of the woods is not very good, but hopefully when Cox comes in here, it'll be better. Let's see. Let's see, put that there. All righty. There we go. Hi, Atlas. How are you, Atlas? Have a good Sunday. You'd have a good Sunday too. What are you doing this Sunday, Atlas? You're good? Nice. That's good. You said I'm just chilling on the couch right now? Okay. Cool. Cool. I know I'm getting ready to go to the gym in a little bit and got to clean the house. And we got to work on some projects later. Heisenberg. What's up, Heisenberg? You should add dairy human-laid yogurt. Right. Yeah, well, the gym is good. I know I've lost about 100 pounds. And one of the things I've realized is I feel like the body, especially with me, because I have like ADHD and stuff, I play piano. And if you look at my videos, you see I've put 1.6 thousand videos. And I trade stocks. I compose music. I'm a personal trainer. I do a lot of stuff a lot of people don't do. But that being said, I've noticed that my body. What's my advice on losing weight? Oh, I have a lot of opinions on that. I'm a certified trainer and nutritionist. I did go to school for that. Everybody's a little bit different when it comes to weight loss, but I do have a little formula I'll tell you. And I'll tell you exactly what I did to lose 100 pounds. And I'm almost 40 years old. So I'm not in my 20s, I'm almost 40. So in order to lose weight, you can do a few different ways. You can fast, but if you fast, you really need to make sure that you weight train. You can do calisthenics. Well, sure, 40 is not old, but if you look at most 40-year-olds and how they look compared to me, I look better than any of the 40-year-olds at my gym. Now, I'm not trying to be conceited in that, but the people who are really big and strong, they're kind of poofy and they look old in the face. And I'm not just trying to build muscle. I'm trying to look good, feel good, look somewhat attractive, instead of just being big and blah. So I'm 6'4", 230 pounds, and I feel really good. And well, I look good, thank you, but it's also been a lot of work. I used to be really big in the face. I used to be a power lifter, and I was like, and I was big, but I wasn't in shape. The biggest thing is if you want to water fast, I'm a big fan of water fasting. If you have a lot of body fat on you, who's the person in the chat? Heisenberg. Heisenberg, are you asking for yourself or a friend? So my question to you, Heisenberg, and I will give you some advice, some real advice on this. How much body fat do you have? Do you have for a friend? Okay, does your friend have a lot of body fat on them? Because if your friend has a lot of body fat on them, I'm gonna treat them differently than if they don't. So your friend is 75 kilograms, so there's 2.2 pounds in a kilogram, so that's 70 plus 70, 140, that's 150. We love a short king. Well, I'm 6'4", so I'm not really short. I'm almost 6'5" at 225, so I'm not really short. But that's okay. If someone's shorter or someone's taller, they respond differently to different training methods, right? I lost 100 pounds over about the course of a year to a year and a half. And I did it nice and slow, and I never felt bad during the process. Now, in order to lose weight, it's very simple. You need to eat less than your body burns. And I think if you have body fat on you, if you have a lot of body fat, then eating less carbohydrates is the way to do it, because body fat is stored energy. So if you think about it, if you move your body more and then you eat a good amount of proteins and fats, and then you give yourself a stimulus such as weightlifting or sprinting or push-ups or pull-ups, calisthenics, resistance training, however you want to move your body. I recommend calisthenics more than weightlifting personally, but to each their own. You send a signal to the body to stay strong. You have to do some form of resistance, right? A plank is wonderful. Planks are resistance training, 100%. Now, once you can do planks, it's not just doing a plank, it's also positioning your body. So I could do a plank like this, I could do a plank like this, I could do a plank, how you turn your elbows. You need to understand how your body, you need to understand where the tension is in your body and make sure the tension is on a targeted muscle. I find pull-ups are great because if you hold yourself on a pull-up bar, right, and you just get, like for example, can you hang on a pull-up bar for a minute? If you can't hang from a bar for a minute, then there's a goal. So your whole workout program should be, how can I hang? Does belly fat, that's not how it works, Heisenberg. Your body doesn't just burn belly fat. You can't burn fat from one portion of the body. That's not how the body works, okay? You burn fat as a unit. The newest fat on your body will burn first, and the fat that's been on your body the longest will burn last. So you can't target belly fat. You can't target back fat. That's not how the body works. The body works through radiation. It works as a single unit, right? Yeah, man, well, that's what I do, man. I'm a certified trainer. I'm a certified trainer nutritionist. My job in the United States Navy was an ACFL. I trained my first client when I was 17 years old, and I'm nearly 40. So I've been training people for over 15 years. So if I sound like a professional, it's because I am. Not being arrogant, not being conceited, but this is what I understand. There's a few things in life I understand, and I feel like training in nutrition is something that, you said, who hates Trump? I don't hate anyone. I don't hate anyone, man. Hate's a bad word, man. Love and hate both have 4 letters. Lovehate. Yeah, you're very welcome. Heisenberg, you got to start thinking for your friend in concepts. The whole concept is this. Don't read how do you lose weight, how do you build muscle. Get that out of your head. Trust me, this is after 17 plus years of experience. What you want to do is, if you want to get leaner, you eat protein and you eat fat, right? Because you need protein and then you need fat. Fat's going to help you with hormones production, and then protein is going to help you recover. Now, when it comes to carbohydrates, you can eat carbs if you want, or you cannot eat carbs. Your body can adapt to glucose, which carbs get broken down into mono and polysaccharides, and then they get stored into the muscle. If you're lifting and you want to get really big, great, eat carbohydrates. But if you want to stay lean and athletic and still be strong, you don't really need as many carbohydrates as you think. You need more proteins and fats. Carbs are not an essential nutrient. Now, I'm not saying not to eat honey or sugars or fruits from time to time, but really limit that. You want to limit your spiking of insulin. The benefit of eating more fat and proteins and moderate carbohydrates is you reduce the insulin spike. My friend is asking if sex does help. Well, let's keep it appropriate on the channel, but yes. Sex would definitely be like a form of cardio, but one of the things I teach in my program is abstinence and celibacy. I think if you're a young man, right, especially men, because I do train some women, but I'm not a woman, so I can't really know how a woman feels, although I've trained a lot of women. For young men, you will burn more fat if you do not fap and you do not, have intercourse. You don't do that. Don't drink. Don't smoke. Okay? If you can't control yourself, if you can't conquer your own desire, how are you going to conquer something outside of your body? No, you guys are fine. I'm just saying, let's keep it as appropriate as possible, right? No one's being crazy right now, but just keep it somewhat appropriate. You see what I'm saying? A lot of my viewers are younger, and I know that. So, anyways, I'm still tired. My friend is asking. So yeah, I would say, no, that's fine. Look, I just didn't want that conversation to turn into something deeper. But yes, I would say reframe. I would say reframe and hold your energy. The more energy you can hold in your body, the better you're going to look. Remember, a lot of how we look, and when it comes to training in the gym, a lot of it has to do with our internal state. So you want to find areas of discipline in every area of your life. Every area of your life is an opportunity to find discipline. And when you do discipline, good things happen. So that is my rant on that. When's the last time that you went 30 days with no processed sugar, no drinking, no smoking, no lustful thoughts, both men and women? Says, I don't have a job, laugh out loud, but I won't get a job. I can earn money myself. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with working for someone when you have to, and there's nothing wrong with starting your own business. I'm a really big fan of people starting their own businesses, absolutely. You definitely, if you want, have the ability to start your business. Try to start a business if you can. Try to figure out it is what you love to do and then make a business out of it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I made a lot of money training people in the past. So as a personal trainer, I made a lot of connections with people and I do a lot of side work. I also trade stocks. I'm a day trader and a swing trader. I compose music. I do a lot of things, man. And I can tell you the things that I do, a lot of it comes down to just having discipline and studying. But if you have a chance to make money doing what you love, do it, you know. Also, if you have a car or you're younger, go do Uber. Go deliver food if you want. You can write that off on your taxes and you can make some good money at the end of the year. You know, just figure out some type of plan. There's lots of ways to do it. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat, so they say. And then also your nutrition. Only eat when you're hungry. Don't fall for the eat every 2 or 3 hours and all of that. All those insulin spikes are not good for you long term. Yeah, I make music. I play piano and I'm trying to learn guitar as well. If you look at my other videos in my channel, you'll see I play a lot of original piano music. Swathi Jr., welcome to the chat. If you're in the chat, don't forget to give a thumbs up. Yeah, so if you're getting hungry 3 times a day and you're younger and you're training, then cool, eat. But what I'm saying is, if you are someone, I've trained a lot of athletes, guys. I've trained over 700 people in the last 17 years. Right? Logan, you agree with me? I don't know what your question was. Atlas, you said I have a song on Spotify. Cool. You say you play the skin flute. So, Victor, can you please keep the chats kind of appropriate if you can? I do have young viewers in here and I do my best to be a good influence on them. I like more classical music and more pop when I play my piano because I fought in Afghanistan for a good period of time with, and I was supporting a team, SPT 22 as an LS. And most of the music I play these days, is more for peace. I'm kind of someone who likes to stay at peace because, well, I do play metal, trust me. I do like some metal from time to time. I do. But a lot of the metal that I listen to is more speed metal, and it's because of the rhythm. Like I like stuff like Dragon Force. And what I do is I try to take those fast tempos and play it on piano. So I like all sorts of music and I can get into grooves, but the music that makes me happiest is a music that raises my frequency. Sure. Now, when you say make music, what I don't like to do is I don't like to use a lot of the engineering. The music that I make, I try to use as little of the tools as possible to keep it authentic. And you can see, some people assume that big guys are always bad. Keep it family friendly. Yeah, that's all I ask is that you keep it family friendly. Well, for music, it's kind of like this, man. I mean, yeah, but you got to think, you don't really, people make a bunch of assumptions, but people can judge you, but as you get older, you're going to realize that what people think doesn't really matter. The way I like to see it is this, and I'll paint a picture for you guys. Have you ever looked in a mirror, for people in the chat, right? 80s, 90s? Of course. I also like Johann Sebastian Bach, Mozart, Chopin. I like Green Day, Goo Goo Dolls, a little bit of Aerosmith. Like, I have a wide variety. I've listened to a lot, but the music I actually compose, and when I create the music out of my brain and my heart, it tends to be more a combination of fast rhythms from metal, speed metal like Dragon Force, right? Or something like Metallica. I like the sounds of strings and cellos. I like orchestra, pop, and guitars and strings, right? So, Logan. Well, no, look, there's nothing wrong with, you see, for example, my brother, he is in like a hardcore band. He's on Spotify. He's a very talented drummer. He's one of the most talented drummers in the state of Georgia. My brother is. He's a professional musician. And their band is called No Ghost. So if you want to get in, if you like heavy metal, go check out Joy Thief or No Ghost. And that's my brother as the drummer on there. And he's an actual audio engineer. So if you like blah, da, 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 all the heavy stuff, if you like that stuff, my brother is a drummer and a producer, and he can kind of hook you up if you get in contact with him. He's a Joy Thief and No Ghost, right? And I do like some rock and roll. Yeah, he's a producer. He's an audio engineer. He can cut tracks. He has an entire laboratory of music in his house, and he's really talented. I would consider him the actual musician of the family. I'm someone who uses music as a form of expression. When I feel angry or I feel hate, he said, oh, I'm sure he would. Well, you can go check him out. If you're on Spotify, just look up No Ghost Eclipse. The band would be No Ghost, and Eclipse is the song. Or look at some of their stuff from Joy Thief. You'll see him. He's a very talented drummer. And yeah, he's a really good dude. So. Anyways, let's put this back a little bit further back. Oh no, I knocked my toothpicks over. So Hugh Jackman's approach to getting lean was to go through a surplus period where he ate a bunch of food, and then he turned into a 1 meal a day to where he would work hard, and then he would have one big meal after his training. And yeah, but you have to understand too, as someone who's trained a few high people in his life, people who have gone on to do some things out of respect, I won't say their names. A lot of the actors that you see, a lot of them are using peptides and SARMs and TRT. They're not exactly, my bad. They're not exactly natural when they go through those transportation. You said Jesus Christ is coming soon? No, I don't believe in heaven and hell. No, I don't believe in that. I don't think the Bible is literally true. I think it's a reference guide to remind us that love is more important than hate, but it's obvious that all religion was created by man. Right? That's my opinion. Mono, welcome back. Yeah, I don't think that the Bible is fundamentally true. Like, I don't know, it's so obvious to me that I'm not saying there's not wisdom in the Bible and you can learn about some things like the Psalms and King David. Well, sure, I hope God does love me, but that doesn't really change how I see the Bible. I think the Bible's great in a lot of ways, and I think the church with art and stuff like that's cool. But as far as does The Rock use steroids? Yeah, absolutely. You kidding me? So, oh, thanks. Yeah, so here's the thing, man. I can believe in God and not be a Christian. I know that's a radical thought, but what I think the Christian faith and almost every other religion is doing, they're all describing the same thing. I'm not an atheist. I do believe in a creator, but I see the world more in the form of energy. I think we came from something and then we return to what we came from. That's what I think. Do I know if it's true? No. And I'm okay with that. Believe it or not, I am okay understanding that I don't understand the magnificence of a creator or of God. I don't pretend to know the answer. I like science more than religion because science actually attempts to find the truth, where religion says, this is the truth. And to me, it's just like, if you look at the Canaanites in the Bible, there was a tribe of people that God ordered to slaughter. Like the God of the Old Testament and New Testament, I mean, it's really weird. I mean, have you ever read the Bible? It's kind of disgusting in a lot of ways. Now, there are some good parts in it, but to me, it's pretty obvious it was a bunch of people just, realistically, it seems like it was trying to be a form of control, like a political system. Have you ever noticed that a church and a school and a courtroom all look the same? Old schools had pulpits. It's like it's kind of built into the society, and I'm not part of that framework because I'm an individual. God can create humans in 9 months over and over again. It would be easy for him to keep. That logic doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think God creates a human. That's not how I see it. That's just not how I see it. I think a sperm and an egg come together and it begins to create a human. I think that's just the natural course of how things work. There's no need to say God did it. And typically what people do is they use the God of the gaps. The average conversation is this. And again, I'm not against people who like religion if that's what you love. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. There's too many questions. And then what people typically do is, I don't understand how that works, so it must be God. So my fear is when people just focus on religion, they become ignorant and they stop looking for how things work. And I'm not that intelligent, but I do know how to think. Kind of lazy, but I do know how to think. All religion was created by man. Now, as a patriot, I can respect that Socrates and Aristotle used Christian foundations to try to create the United States, and I'm appreciative of that. I don't think the church should go away, but I think the church is for sinners, not saints. You want to find God? Go create something with music. Go create something with art. All right. You said I look like Diddy if he was white? Oh, okay. No, I don't play video games. I don't play a single video game. I don't watch TV. I do some streaming and I trade stocks. I trade stocks and I'll look at, I have 5 companies I trade. I don't really watch the news too much. It kind of makes me depressed. And also there's social bias in most news. I try to detach myself from most of the world. And I'm on like a spiritual journey where I'm trying to get closer to what I call the creator. But I don't conform to any single religion. I think the magnificence of God is so magnificent that it can't be put into a single religion. The fact that a human being can say, this is the religion for God, makes, it's kind of ludicrous and egocentric. You said, I'm an agnostic. Well, Swathi, I'm curious about that. You like my tattoos? Thanks, man. I designed them myself. I designed my tattoos myself when I was in the United States Navy and I was traveling around the world and fighting for the country. So, appreciate that. Yeah, man, if you ever want to design a tattoo, right, what you do is you take a picture of your body and then you put it on Adobe and you take the images. So, I got some skulls representing death, representing life, representing time. I do believe in a creator. So this is kind of like Odin or Jesus or God or Buddha or whoever you want to say. Comes down in here to the light. I have a candle with a spider. If you see the spider right here, it's crawling up to the eyeball because you always have to keep your eyes open because there's always darkness. I do believe that there is an energy brewing where good and evil are attempting to be in harmony. Yet some people take extreme good and extreme evil in a conflict. Yet extreme good and extreme evil conflicting is not where I see the world. I see the world as light and darkness working together. This is what I discovered when I visited Japan for 3 years and I went to the lands of China, to Guangzhou, and I traveled. I learned a lot from the Asian Pacific. Right. So, do you do martial arts? Agnostics, as in I don't believe in God 100%, but I'm not sure that God. See, that's fair. You see, that's the thing why someone couldn't be a pure atheist. To me, I couldn't be an atheist because as an atheist, that would mean I know for a fact that God doesn't exist. That's what an atheist would say. And you can't conclude that. You technically can't conclude there is a God or there isn't. You can't prove it. Now, I tend to lean more towards a creator because as I've experienced life and I see how things interact, Einstein said it best. Einstein believed in the God of Spinoza. And if you don't know what the God of Spinoza is, the God of Spinoza, what Einstein said is everything is so intertwined and interconnected and aesthetically so beautiful. And it doesn't have to be. So Einstein believed in a God of beauty and art, such as Spinoza. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Things wouldn't have to be so beautiful, but they are. So there's an aesthetic quality. And I find that that makes a lot of sense. Right? I appreciate you, haters. I appreciate you, haters. I'm an Asian, by the way, Indian precisely. Okay, well, Swathi, here's a chance to ask. I actually played basketball for about 14 years. I played basketball. I was a shooting guard. I played baseball. I was a pitcher. I played football, I was a tight end, and I played rugby as a scrum half. I also was in the United States Navy for 10 years, and I'm almost 40 years old. I've been training martial arts most of my life. Again, physical culture is one of the reasons I think I've aged pretty well at nearly 40 years old, and I've lost 100 pounds. Who's your favorite player in the NBA? I don't really watch sports. I like to play sports, but I don't watch them. But during my era, I think Stephen Curry was pretty inspirational. I think Stephen Curry was cool because he was from Davidson College. He didn't get drafted. He wasn't the largest, but he had a very unique skill set. And I was a shooting guard, and I'm 6'4", and he's about 6'4". So me and Steph, I think, are about the same height. I think he's 6'2". I might be a couple inches taller. But I used to shoot a lot of threes as well. So I thought Stephen Curry was pretty cool. Also in today's league, I'm not really watching basketball, but I saw a highlight the other day because I don't watch a lot of TV. What do you say here? Oh, yeah, what do you believe? So you said you're agnostic, Swathi. So do you lean more towards atheism or do you lean more towards creator? I'm just genuinely curious because in these chats that I have, the difference between me and other streams is I'm not trying to be right. I'm not trying to be wrong. I'm genuinely loving the interaction of how people actually think. So for you, it's a 50-50. I feel that. I feel that. What do you think it would take you to persuade? Have you traveled yet? Have you traveled around the world? Have you studied quantum physics and science? Because it really does seem like energy gets recycled. Why did you ask Swathi? Hey Swathi, just by the way, you can ask as many questions as you want. Too broke. Okay. Well, do you like comic books? I don't really read a lot of comic books, no. I mean, I like superheroes, but guys, I can't stress this enough. When I'm not streaming and doing this time with you, this streaming is just me relaxing in between my work I do. My day consists of the gym or calisthenics. I'm not like a huge power lifter, but I do like to train my body for movement. I do a lot of movement, a lot of stretching. I trade stocks during the week. I also have like some livestock over here, some chickens and stuff. I like to compose music. And, you know, I always like to read and educate myself. So a lot of the time that most people spend entertaining, I use that time to try to learn concepts like music theory or piano, or like I said, trading stocks, or coming on here for mindset training. And, you know, speaking to people in public. I do a lot of public speaking when I'm not on YouTube, right? Right. Yeah, well, I'm very eclectic. Some people think I'm a polymath, but I'm not super in depth on any particular subject. But, you know, I like to learn, you know. Oh yeah, the Bible verse in the back. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's a good Bible verse. Let all that you do be done in love. Now, I am not a Christian, just to say. Now, you can call me a cultural Christian, but I do think the Bible gets some things right. It gets a lot of things wrong, and it gets some things right. But I do think that what Jesus was trying to represent was love versus hate. And I think it's easy to hate and it's hard to love. Easy to hate and it's hard to love. That's kind of how I see it. But again, people, the thing with my brain is I can't fundamentally believe that the Bible is true. That's just not how my brain works. So that doesn't mean I don't draw inspiration from it. What do I think the Bible gets wrong? Oh. Who is this? I would call this someone who is a creator or a stoic. I like the symbolism for a creator. I love the art. But let's say that the Canaanites in the Bible, what did the Canaanites do wrong? Why were the Canaanites slaughtered? Or how can God tell a person to go slaughter a village of people, including the women and children? I find most parts of the Bible, which talks about God exterminating people, to be very, very bad. Just like the Quran and some of the Muslim faiths, just like the Talmud in the Jewish community literally says if you're not Jewish, you're a dog. So I also don't believe there's God's chosen people. It doesn't make sense. The people that wrote the Bible were God's chosen people. It's very convenient. Right. You said, So what you're doing, Kira, is a red herring argument. I'm asking, so if you look at the Canaanites and you look at how God ordered the slaughter of the women and children, I can't be a part of any book that convinces people that it's okay to do that for what it is. Okay, you say evil, okay? Repeat this sentence. It's okay to slaughter women and children if the Bible says so, because, just say that sentence out loud. My brain doesn't work that way. I'm not going to ever understand. I don't care how evil someone is, it's not okay to slaughter a bunch of men and women. That's just one example. And then most people are going to say, well, that's the God of the Old Testament, not the New Testament, Chris. There's always an excuse. Yeah. Stray kids, no. Yeah, but again, I don't want to get into too much of a part. There's things in the Bible that I do like the Psalms. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, and I'm not trying to be right or wrong. Kiara, I appreciate you being brave and courageous and open to have a dialect. And I promise you that I'm not going to be dirty or anything. That's just kind of how I see it. What I lived in Japan for 3 years and I traveled a bit, and just my travels have opened up my perspective to where I think all cultures are describing God. I don't think that God is necessarily in control just to take life and give life. If you look at the mathematics of it, I think we're all just energy particles. It seems like we're in this quantum field, because I like science. The quantum field is all around us, and we're this little energy particle that manifests when we think in our head. It interacts with the akashic and the quantum field in front of us, and our thoughts begin to create reality. Oh, for sure. Well, that's okay. Rational minds can disagree and still be friends. That's what civilized people do. If you can't disagree with someone and have a conversation, then you're not civilized. It is what it is. But I would challenge you to try to come up with a reason why it's okay for God to command the genocide of women and children. And also, yeah, for sure. It's okay. Like, if I don't have a single friend in my group that we can't discuss things and have different opinions. You know what I mean? I mean, the beauty and the art of human beings as a social species is to communicate. I've learned so much from getting inside the brains of other people and picking out how they think. It's a beautiful thing. I love understanding how other people think. I'm also convinced that most people don't know how to think. Most people think out loud. Next time you go talk to one of your friends, they're probably talking out loud, but they're thinking out loud. You know what I mean? And, I also was a poker player. You can Google me. You can put Chris Whitehead Poker. And I'm on Google. I did a bunch of poker tournaments back in the day. So I was pretty good at reading people. I had a 15-year-old mother, so I had a lot of life experience growing up. I was homeless before I joined the Navy. So I've got a different perspective of the world. I just have a deeper perspective. Yeah, well, just understand this, Kiera, and I say this, yeah, you're very welcome. I say this without a love. Try to say this sentence out loud. It's okay for God to command the genocide of people, including the killing of women and children, because the Bible says so, because right? It's okay to do that, to genocide people. Like, that's just, my brain doesn't work that way. I can't say, oh, this has got to be true and there has to be a reason and find a reason why God commanded. I'm just like, no, I don't care how you put it. It's not good to, wipe out people because they're being evil. Now, that being said, I want to move on to another point. I don't believe that the Jewish people are God's chosen people. It's very convenient for the people that wrote the book to say we are God's chosen people. It's very convenient. I think everybody is God's chosen people. That's what I think. I think we're all living on earth and we're all connected in some way. Say a prayer for? Okay, I want you to guess 2 of my strengths and weaknesses. Swathi, I think you're someone who is very analytical and left-brained. I think you're very, very analytical. You probably are a bit OCD simply because you know how to think. You're 50-50 as an agnostic. So you probably can understand complicated things, yet small details trip you up. You're probably one of those people who has a hard time sleeping at night because you ponder about the larger questions in life. How's that? I've never met you. Is that a pretty good guess? How's that, Swathi? Well, I'd say somewhat true. That's not bad for a guess. You're probably analytical. You're Asian, Indian to be precise. You probably sometimes in conversations, I'm guessing you're probably someone who has a hard time sleeping sometimes because you have deep thoughts. Anyone who's agnostic and they're trying to consider these things have not been brainwashed by the world. And I want to say that's a gift. It's a gift to be able to think independently. Just because you suck at math doesn't mean you're analytical because you use math every day. For example, a squared plus b squared plus c squared is the Pythagorean theorem. You use algebra every day. You use an algebra is just you taking concepts. Does God exist? Does he not exist? Am I a good person? Algebraic expressions are just taking your thoughts and manifesting them into writing. So you do use math every day, but the way you were taught, the way math works in algebraic expressions, you're using it every day, but you don't realize it. Oh, what do we got here? What happened to freedom of religion in the Constitution and in Geneva? Well, I do think the United States was founded on pretty much Christian principles, kind of. But separation of church and state, absolutely. You can't have the church and state together. Because when you use religion to control people in groups, that's what creates uprising. So, although I don't think the church should go away, I think the church has created music and art, and there's a lot of great literature in the Bible as far as like the Psalms and King David. There's a lot of great stuff in there, but it doesn't convince me that it's true. It's just like a book that teaches you things like a lot of other books, Ah, you're an introvert. You say I'm decent with words? Well, I was to be fair, I was formerly, when I lived in California, I worked for a corporation and I was in marketing and I was a top sales rep. So I've had thousands of conversations with people on the phone and in person. So thank you. I do think that speaking is something I enjoy. Hello, my question, can you ask you a question? The Pookie Monster, is that what you said? Proverbs 15:17, Exodus, some of y'all things. Oh, also, the Bible teaches you how to be an upstanding person, have integrity. Oh, absolutely. I also think the Bible attempts to do that.
And I think if we took some of the, see, here's the thing. If you take Jesus like I do, and I say, I don't think Jesus was the Son of God, because that's not how my brain works. I think Jesus was an enlightened being who saw corruption in the framework, the political system, and he tried to serve others with love. And by doing so, if we were to learn more about how Jesus acted and applied that to our life, the world would be a better place. I'm not disputing that. That just doesn't convince me that he was the Son of God. I kind of think Jesus was a magician and a philosopher and a stoic and a truly enlightened being that should be studied. Because no matter which way you slice it, a lot of stuff happened. Bible teaches you, yeah. I think the Bible has a lot of good lessons, but that still doesn't convince me that it's fundamentally true. That doesn't mean you can't take it and apply it to other parts of your life. Absolutely, you can do that, right? And there's a scripture up there in the Bible, you know? There's a scripture up here that says, let all that you do be done in love, 1 Corinthians 16:14. That's great. But that still doesn't convince me that Jesus was the Son of God. I think Jesus was an enlightened being that came, tried to teach people a lot. And if we followed what he said as far as love is better than hate. Love has 4 letters, Love. Hate has 4 letters, Hate. It's easy to hate and it's hard to love. But that being said, one of the things that I don't like, what is this? Right, Clara, so that still doesn't convince me. I don't care how horrible someone is. The Canaanites, so again, it's okay to slaughter women and children and to kill an entire race, attempt genocide. It's okay to do that because you just say that sentence out loud. If you can't say that sentence out loud, then your consciousness is saying, oh, something doesn't make sense. I don't care how bad people were. Right, so I don't care how bad people are. I don't think it's okay to do a genocide. Okay, so you've convinced yourself that it's okay to kill women and children. Now keep in mind, you're making the assertion that every person in that group. How do you know that's not a lie? How do you know that, the Jewish community has been kicked out of over 500 countries, right? How do you know that's true? You don't. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I would be willing to bet that if there was a group of people that were doing evil deeds, right? If you can convince yourself that it's okay to kill them and their women and children, if a book can convince you that that's okay, that is a powerful book that can be used for good or manipulated for evil. I think the Bible is sometimes manipulated to control people. And that's what I fear. Okay, so let me clarify. Okay for God. See, I don't agree with that. I don't. I agree to disagree. I don't care how ruthless a society is. I cannot convince myself that it's okay to go kill the women and the children and commit genocide on a group. I just can't see that. That's not how my brain works. Right, so now you don't think the whole group was evil. So now God, who is all powerful, is now allowing innocent people to die. You see, the logic just doesn't make sense. You're just going down a deeper and a deeper hole. Now that's my opinion. I don't even know what that means, brother. Yeah, I don't even know what 67 means. I think it's some type of spam. I don't really care. I literally don't even think about it. I see that comment and I just tell my brain, next comment. So, what am I doing on the channel? Well, I have lost 100 pounds. I'm eating sardines and eggs, getting ready to go to the gym. Then I'm gonna go produce and make some music. Then I'm gonna go take care of my chickens, clean the house, get ready to trade stocks in the morning. And I'm having some interesting conversation. Am I a Christian? I am not. You could call me a cultural Christian because I grew up in the church. I used to teach Sunday school. I was a lot involved in the church, but I think the church, and I say this kind of laughingly, but I'm not trying to be rude. Oh, absolutely, I do believe in a creator. I'm not an atheist. I'm very spiritual, man. I talk to God all day, every day. I just don't conform to a religion. Religion doesn't make sense to me. I think religions are kind of like cults of people, and I don't mean a bad way. It's just, I think religion is kind of like a cult of people that make a tribe, and like a football team, like baseball, or let's say you have a basketball team, Lakers and Celtics, or I think forms of religion are tribes, and when tribes disagree, they fight, and that scares the crap out of me, because I don't see why people can't just accept that some people, like, I feel that there's a creator and I can't explain that. It's kind of my own personal relationship, but I feel close to God when I'm making music or I'm outside with animals. I never felt God in a church. And I was in church for, I don't know, a lot, because I was homeless. I used to live in a church. I had a godfather. I've gone to Pentecostal, Baptist, Southern Baptist, Presbyterian, Catholic. I've taken communion. It's all weird to me. It looks like a courtroom. Yeah, I believe in God without all the shenanigans. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. Now, I'm not hating on the Christian faith like people would think. I'm not trying to hate on people. Whatever makes people become good people, that's fine. But every time I left the church, I was ostracized and people were really weird to me. I have heard someone's voice that sounded like God one midnight while I was sleeping, but then I searched online the next day and said it's hypnotic. Well, I mean, that's kind of anecdotal, man. If you can't replicate that, then it's kind of hard to discuss. A lot of people have anecdotal experiences. Like, for example, I've had an experience where I was laying in bed late at night and I felt that there was a shift, especially between like 11 and 2. I felt shifts and I felt the presence of something strong, which I would say is something powerful, but I don't exactly know what it is. And instead of, see, the human mind, let me tell you guys something. The human mind wants to understand and conceptualize what it doesn't understand. I am okay with not understanding what is going on around me. I'm okay with that. I attempt to try to make sense of things. But if I don't know what's going on, then how can I attempt to understand what's going on? It's like this: if something's flying in the sky and I don't know a lot about astrophysics or science or planes, this is what most people do. Most people say, I don't know what that is. It has to be a UFO. If you don't know what it is, then you're not qualified to understand what it is, right? Like, our brains want to justify and they want to conceptualize logically and rationally what things are, but sometimes we as people are too dumb to understand, and that's when we just have to accept, okay, I need to get smarter, I need to study, or just accept the fact that I don't understand. So that's kind of how it is. I don't know what that is in the sky. It must be a UFO. Does that make any sense? Anyways, But yeah, I'm sure that experience with you, Swathi Jr., was real. You could have been dreaming. Maybe you weren't. And I'm sure that experience affected you. I've had some very interesting experiences outside at 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of the woods. I go outside when it's midnight, sit outside under a tree where there's nothing around, and then I try to think. Try doing that sometime. Going outside when it's midnight in the middle of the woods where there's animals and stuff around, and just be there and just breathe. Right? So, yeah, I see God as a spiritual being. Define spiritual, Shawnee Michael. Define spiritual. Do you consider spiritual like energy? Because I'm kind of looking at God as a force of energy. And I do think you can feel energies and forces, but I don't think it's good versus evil. I don't think that's a Western. If you're in the United States, which I am, and you've never been outside of the United States, right? Then you may not understand this, but because I've traveled to the Asian Pacific and lived in Japan for 3 years and interacted with the Japanese people, I went to the temples, I went to learn the katanas, I went to the temples, I sought out the elders who were in their 90s, and I had a translator and I talked to them. And I'm telling you, man, there's something with the idea of good and evil or light and darkness working in harmony. I think it's all about balance. The world is like this. It balances back and forth. The world is like this. It goes back and forth. And then the middle represents a struggle between light and darkness. Light and darkness go back and forth into a pendulum. And then as this is going on, then you're spinning. So you're spinning. This is life. It's a balance of energy that's always twisting and turning. And the only thing that you can control, is your internal thoughts. I promise you this. If you go outside, right, and you focus with no technology, and you get under a tree, the different countries feel different. Well, yeah, Clara, the thing is, before I left the United States and traveled, I was very convinced that the Christian faith was the answer. I was even ordained to become a minister at one point. The church saw a lot of potential in me and realized I was persuasive. Right, well, yeah, that's kind of hard. Well, that's the benefit of living in the country versus the city, just for what it's worth. Everything is good. I don't know if everything is good or everything is bad, but everything is in balance. Because here's the thing. Okay. If you look at the two scenarios, beauty has an aesthetic quality. If I take a butterfly and I kill a butterfly, I'm evil. But if I kill a cockroach, I'm a hero. That's how most people think. So there's an aesthetic quality to life. Friedrich Nietzsche, we were born on the same day. Me and Friedrich Nietzsche were born on the same day. So for some reason, I feel close to that man. He was a philosopher. But one of the things is if you kill a cockroach, but a cockroach, do you know that cockroaches are super vital to the ecosystem? You kill a cockroach and you're a hero, but you kill a butterfly and now you're a zero. The same thing when it comes to expressions of religion. We are taught, especially in the United States at a young age, we are looking at images. Just think of a classroom where you have the teacher speaking. Look at a courtroom where you have the pulpit. Look at a church. They're all metaphorically have symbols that programs us to submit to authority. And even in the United States Navy, I was someone who always struggled in the Navy because I have a hard time submitting to authority unless I understand what that authority is. am too much of an independent thinker to conform to authority. Not trying to be mean, it's just how my brain works. I can't really help it. I had a 15-year-old mother. I was beaten a lot as I was younger. I was bullied as a kid because I was real skinny because I didn't have enough food. And, I went into the Navy, won 50 medals for the United States over a 10-year career. Top 10, top 3 sales reps. It's just coming from a lot of these perspectives. Traveling to Japan, traveling to China, I've lived a type of life where it's very affected my perception because of all the experiences. Oh no, it's okay, man. You don't have to give empathy. I'm okay with that. But I'm trying to tell you where I came from, because at my heart of my soul, I know I am a ruthless, aggressive, very irrational person that I love to fight. I'm very big into just, I'm a man, right? Rah! But I had to destroy that person of me and try to use more love and rationality. And it took me a long time to build this character. I had to wipe myself down, question everything. And what I came to the conclusion is we're all here floating on a planet in the middle of the cosmos, and we don't really understand anything. So I attempt to never understand anything, so I'm always learning and evolving. Right? So me evolving as a human being involves reading and learning and getting the experience of other people and then applying it to my own philosophy and ideology. Oh, so what is this? What is this message? Oh, I see. Now that's funny. You said I hate butterflies. Okay. Well, the point is, for that one is, it's just an interesting thought experiment. Most people will like butterflies and they'll not like cockroaches. Yet they're both part. They're not, is one evil and one's good? No. They're both working in an ecosystem because beauty has an aesthetic quality. Like morality has an aesthetic quality, not beauty, morality. Our moral and our ethical compass that dictates how we think, it has an aesthetic quality. It really, truly does. It has an aesthetic quality. If you eat a dog, you're considered ruthless. But if you eat a cow, you're considered a normal person. So there's an aesthetic quality to morality. And that will make you think a lot about yourself if you really think about that. I have to go, but thank you for the conversation. Oh, Clara, you're very welcome. And by the way, Clara, you found me. Well, here, hit the notification bell, because guys, I've been on the stream for 90 minutes. I love all of you, but I need to go do some chores. I need to get some stuff done. I really enjoyed the conversation. Do me a favor, come back in and, ask me questions about this, because look, if you truly believe that, oh, thank you. Oh, nice. I'm not here to argue and fight and be mean. I'm here for you watching over there, you and me, to collectively grow together. Let us grow together. We're not going to agree on everything. That's life. But hopefully we can get a perspective that's maybe uncommon. Have some uncommon perspectives, because the more perspectives that you get, the wider your mind will open. And the worst thing you can do is have a mind that's so sure of everything that it shuts. If you know something is true and your mind is shut, you're never going to learn. You got to be like an oyster. You got to open up, get the information, and you have to keep an open mind in order to evolve. I am never convinced that my mind cannot be changed on any subject because I'm willing to hear what someone else has to say and then rationally come to my own conclusion based on the evidence that's at hand. You said, I am happy in my life. That's a good, the older I get, I don't think being happy is my goal. I like being happy. I would rather be at peace. I try to be peace at mind. If my mind and I'm at peace, then I feel good. I do like to be happy, and I do get happy, and I love the feeling of happy. Hey, you have a great day too. But I think happiness kind of comes and goes. My opinion on metal music, I think all music has something to learn from. All music has something to offer. Sometimes you have to step into the realm of evil to understand and appreciate good. And sometimes you have to step in the realm of good to appreciate evil, right? I think metal tempos, I like speed metal, like Dragon Force, Happy New Year. Any type of upbeat, fast music that has a story, like Dragon Force, The Tale of Draco, is great. However, most of the music I listen to is more to keep me at peace. Happiness goes up and down. He's here to enlighten us, guys. He's an American Buddhist. Buddhism does make a lot of sense. I don't know if I could call myself a Buddhist, but I will say this: balance is definitely key in your life. There's nothing that you do, there's nothing that you're going to accomplish without balance. So, I like Aqua Barbie. Okay. I don't know what Aqua Barbie is, but that's good. Swathi, I appreciate you. Now, guys, it has been about 93 minutes. I need to finish some chores around the house, but maybe if we're feeling good, positive. Now, positivity is important. However, here's the thing. You want to remain positive to collect energy, but sometimes you need to step into the realms of negativity in order to conquer them. I think you truly conquer something because, for example, I gave up alcohol, I gave up pornography, I gave up smoking. When I was younger, I did a lot of recreational drugs, and I disciplined myself to get away from that. Now, if I had never experienced the turmoil and evil of what that stuff did to me, excuse me, then I don't know if I could truly appreciate the positive. You like clubbing, like going to the club like woo, woo, woo. No, you're not going to catch me at a club. Absolutely not. That's just not my scene. Doesn't mean I couldn't go, but typically clubs are too loud and noisy for me. Too much noise. Disrupts my peace. Now, I would go to a lounge, maybe. Well, I appreciate that, Shawnee, you seem pretty interesting yourself. Who would you say are the 3 most known people in the world of all time? I think Jesus would be on that list. Probably Jesus. Probably Muhammad of the Quran. I think there's more. I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree, but I probably think they're probably spiritual. Maybe Gandhi, Jesus, and maybe Buddha or Muhammad. I think people like that. Yeah. Maybe Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, Gandhi. Who's known more in the world than like Jesus, Gandhi, Muhammad, Michael Jordan? Help chat. I mean, that's a pretty solid list, right? Well, of course, Jesus has got to be on the list. Even though I'm not a Christian, I still respect that there was a revolution, what Jesus did, obviously, right? Good answer? Yeah, fair. I think my. Oh, actually, Michael Jackson. Actually, that. Michael Jackson might actually be a better. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Michael Jackson. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You're a smooth. Dun, dun, dun. That's the power of Michael Jackson, I guess. Moses? Nah. I don't think so, man. I mean, Moses was well known, but you think more people know about Moses than Michael Jackson? I don't know. Jesus and the funny mustache man from World War II. That's a good list. Imagine if someone said they didn't know MJ, you would assume they were lying. Well, if you asked if someone said they didn't know MJ, how would you know if they were talking about Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson? You see, that's where it's cross-cultural. Very interesting. I like that question. Machine Gun Kelly? Yeah. Actually, you know what? Eminem might be on that list. It's probably something to do with musicians or prophets, I think. Machine Gun Kelly? I don't know if Machine Gun Kelly makes the list, guys. But Eminem might make that list, believe it or not. A lot of people know Eminem. Am I gay? No. But I am celibate. I had a divorce. After my divorce, I devoted myself to celibacy. So I am not going to have kids. I made a commitment to, basically, I'm doing an experiment where I'm trying to become an enlightened being. So I gave up pornography. I gave up smoking. I gave up a lot of things. So, no, I mean that. And you can say what you want, but the longer I go celibate, the stronger my mind gets. I think every time we ejaculate and release our energy, and this is what Nikola Tesla and Isaac Newton and many scholars of the past said, except Britney Spears. Britney Spears. I don't know about that one. No, I think that I should get my cell phone stand. I'm attempting to become an enlightened being, so my path to enlightenment involves celibacy. I find the longer you can hold your energy without releasing, the better. A lot of wise people came to this conclusion. Nikola Tesla, Marcus Aurelius, Isaac Newton. Can you do a backflip? No, I cannot. I can stand on my head, but that's going to be for another video. Now I have to use the restroom. Give me 1 second. While I pee real quick. No, I actually, because I used to be a large power lifter, forgive me, because I used to be a large power lifter, I have 4 herniated discs now. So my back is not nearly as strong as it used to be. But even before that, I don't know if I would have ever been able to do a backflip. There we go. Considering all the influence on the enemy, would we be better without it? I don't know. That's a good question. It's a good question. It's a really good question. Yeah, who's asking that question? Yeah, Eminem may be a bit psychotic, but the question earlier was a list of 3 people who are most known worldwide, and I thought maybe he might be on the list. One Piece is real. One Piece, yeah. Well, that's a really good question. That's okay. Christian anger. You know, I think the world is better with the internet because now we have access to more information. So having people with access to more information is good. The problem is that people, instead of learning with that information, instead of people learning, they're using it for pure pleasure. So I don't think the world is better with or without it. I don't think it's better with or without it. I think it's better with it. I think we're better off. I think that we're better off with the internet to spread information, but the people are distracted with dopamine. So the internet is a great source. You don't even have to go to college these days. You can learn anything online. All right, there we go. You can learn anything online. That's a fair answer? Yeah, thanks, man. I mean that, man. Because, think about this. The man who doesn't read, the man who does not read has no advantage of the man who is illiterate. People don't even read books anymore. By the way, this is where I trade my stocks, if you're curious. This is where I do my work. This is where I trade my stocks over here. So, some of you guys are asking about my stocks trading. Guys, if you want to learn a skill and you want to make money, try to learn to trade stocks or at least do long-term investing. Did I just now eating to dinner? No. I am getting ready to go to the gym because I believe in growing your body. Now, I'm not a power lifter or a bodybuilder, but I do a lot of calisthenics. I believe in training the body, I believe in training the mind, and I believe in creating something, and that's my routine. So, the man on my arm, this one, this one right here. The man on my arm was supposed to represent God because I do believe in a creator. I've always had a feeling that there was a creator. Now, I may be wrong about that. I have some friends who are very atheistic and they think that I'm a coward for not committing to atheism, but I'm not a fan of religion. But I feel a pull and a draw towards something larger than myself. And I think this is what a lot of Christians try to explain with the Bible. The only difference is I don't think that one person is the Son of God. I think certain people may have access to the divine because the divine selects people to share it, maybe prophets, whatever you want to say. But I don't find the Bible to be fundamentally literally true. I think it's a reference guide like other literatures. So that's kind of a quick synopsis of what I do. Cool. All right, guys. Now, I will talk to you guys later. Stay good. God bless. And I will see you next time. Thanks for all the time, guys. You guys rock. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and notifications bell. And maybe next time I'll play some piano for you.